All right, here we go. Let's see. Is it if you die you're out, or are we gonna keep going
I
until
think you can try again. I think we'll just try this for a few minutes and see how it goes.
I died
Yeah,
immediately?
okay. I just gotta finish this melody. Okay. We'll take some warming up here. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kirby Conversations. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a writer, podcaster, and teacher. And we are back again with some of our usual crowd. We've got Bridget. Hi, Bridget. Welcome back.
Hello, happy to be back. My name's Bridget. I'm a longtime fan, commentator, collector, artist, and I really love some Kirby challenges.
And we have Gigi.
Hi, I'm Gigi. I'm the editor chief of Kirby. I have been a big Kirby fan for a while, and I'm from Brazil. So yeah, hi.
And we are all producers here at Kirby Conversations, along with Kai, Captain Dangerous Parker. And we are also part of the Soundstone Podcast Network, along with Flashback 64 and Pixels and Polygons. Links to those shows are in our show notes, but we hope you'll check out those as well. And today we are talking about Kirby challenges. So it comes up a lot in the show how, in general, I would say there is this reputation, I guess, that Kirby games have that they are pretty easy. And people do tend to complain sometimes that maybe they are too easy. And we've talked on this show both about the advantages of making them easier for how accessible they are, and that really is an intention for the Kirby series to be very approachable for game players of all different ages and experience levels. And we all have said in the past, I don't want to speak for everyone or anything, but how that is a good thing, that the games make themselves very accessible. But then there's also this other side of it where sometimes people who are more experienced players or more quote unquote hardcore players maybe aren't as into Kirby games because they feel like they're too easy. So for this episode, we thought we would look at some ways to make Kirby games harder. If you're looking for a way to amp up the difficulty, a way to replay some of these games in new ways, because I do think that the Kirby games, being as versatile as they are, given all the different abilities Kirby has, they can really be like playgrounds for your own creativity in a lot of ways. And sometimes I don't know that people quite realize that aspect to these games. So we've got some ideas here. And I also really encourage people. I know on our episodes, we always say, reach out to us if you have any questions or comments about the show. But for this one, I really hope we can get some comments from the listeners too about how do you play Kirby? Do you have some creative twist you bring to it? Do you do things to amp up the difficulty level, or do you speed run or compete with your friends in different ways? We'd be really curious to hear about all the ways that other people are playing Kirby games too, or putting their own twists on it. But today we'll be talking about some of the twists that we want to put on it, or certain things within the games themselves that you can do to make them more difficult. So, Bridget or Gigi, would either of you like to start before we get to? We've got a main event here. We've got an activity we're going to do on this one. But before we get started with that, Bridget or Gigi, do either of you want to just comment on Kirby difficulty or things you have done to add extra challenge to the game?
Yeah. So I really love Kirby games, and I understand their entry level, so I understand they are on the easier side for the main games. But I never was discouraged from enjoying them. I always felt like, even way back on like the Super Nintendo with Kirby Superstar, like there was a scene of people who would run the arenas with various powers, and that would provide different challenge. Like if you weren't used to a certain power or move set, like how you handle that boss with a different set of abilities. Um, and I've always found like some way to amplify my enjoyment of the games, either through 100% completion or just like unlocking extra modes. Like my first Kirby game is the original Kirby's Dream Land, which does have straight up an extra mode. And so like my first experience with Kirby was playing it easy and then immediately playing it harder. So I guess I never had that. I didn't grow up quite with like the perception that there was like nothing to the series. Like I kind of knew early on there was just from playing the first one, but maybe that kind of knowledge didn't like penetrate as much with later games for whatever reason. Maybe because they became longer, and by the time you got to the harder stuff, it was like deeper into the game. But I always found something to really enjoy with them, and like I said, extra mode in the original game. Something that I did not that long ago was like we had a Samurai Kirby tournaments between me and my friends, and that was really fun. And in Kirby in the Forgotten Land, me and my friend really got into challenging each other to beat each other's like top times in like the Treasure Road challenges. So there's like a lot of things you could do, and a way to make it exciting too is like competing with your friends as well, whether it's times or racing or anything like that is also really fun.
Nice.
Hmm. Yeah, in my case, I'm gonna be honest that Kirby for me, one of the things I like about Kirby is also exactly that. That's really accessible and you can like make it as hard or as easy as you want. So for me, usually I like playing the game first to understand like how it works, and then later if I want like to go more deep into it, try something harder. One thing people do that I don't personally do, but I know many people do as a challenge is beat the arenas and through arenas or whatever without an ability, or maybe with one that usually they don't like. That's not as you're not as used to. In my case, I also like as a challenge. I like 100%ing, and I have done a few things that are like really completion, like as a completionist, which will, for example, beating Helper to Hero from Superstar Ultra with every single helper, which was really hard for some. That was a challenge. Like that's something I could do. And sometimes there are also in the recent game specifically like the platinum medals. Like you can just be the challenge stage of Return to the Land, that's fine. But if you really want, you can also go after the platinum medals, which are really hard sometimes. Personally, I don't go exactly after them, but I did go in specifically DDD's Doom Dash Deluxe because I like rhythm games. But I remember really wanting to do that because that was a challenge I wanted. So, and I also when I was like when I got to Kirby, my first Kirby game was Squeak Squad, and I remember playing the Astra mode of that game like over and over until I got better times. It was a matter of like trying to find the best route. It was pretty much speed running, so I could just speed run the whole game, knowing where each chest was, like how what was faster. And honestly, you can just do so much. On it depends a lot on what you like what kind of play style you like. You can just replay the game. I've seen people do like the Pokemon Nuzlocke, where after your Pokemon faints, you can use it. I've seen people like if you lose an ability in Kirby, you cannot use that ability again in the run. And I found that
Interesting.
really interesting. Yeah, I haven't
Wow.
done that before, but I want to someday. It was really nice. So like you have fire, and if an enemy attacks you and you drop fire, you can use fire again for that run. People are really creative. You can find your ways, like. But yeah, as Bridget was saying, like even in the very first game, they had Astra mode, they have configuration mode where you can just play around with settings. I think most like mainline games have like the Astra modes. Many spin-offs is also really hard to 100%. Like if you have tried 100% Mass Attack, Canvas Curse, or anything else, it's really
Hmm.
hard.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah.
Fire Ride, sometimes it's just there's so much to do, so many challenges. So I feel some people think that Kirby's easy and that's it because often they will like play the story mode and think everything else is just a plus. When personally for me, like playing a Kirby game is playing like the whole package. I know some games like it's the has the main story and then after it's like a post game, new game plus or something. But for me, Kirby, it's like you beat the story and then after the story, that's when the fun begins. That's for me how it feels. So I think that's more in that sense. But yeah, uh, you can play Kirby like easy, really easy if you want. You can just like fly over the whole stage for every single if you want. That's your new. You can also challenge yourself and maybe beat every challenge of the game, get everything, every collectible, and 100%. You can play whatever you want. I think that's really nice.
You could choose to not upgrade as well for some later entries.
Oh yeah.
I did the Magalore epilogue with
Hmm.
no upgrades and beat the whole thing.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of different challenges, kind of based on the game as well. Like you were saying, there's speed running challenges, there's boss rush challenges. Like in Superstar, I would just do one power throughout the whole thing, and if I lost or dropped the power, that was it. I would have to restart the whole run, which
Well.
like is yeah. I did that for every ability in the original Superstar, and I did it for later games with one power. I would choose it and beat the whole run. Like in Planet Robobot, I beat the whole run with Doctor, and in Triple Deluxe, I beat the whole boss rush with just Ninja.
Mhm.
Um, and Triple Deluxe is particularly a little nasty because if you played the later boss fight, I won't spoil it, but there's kind of open platforms where if you lose your power,
Mhm.
if you get hit once and it falls down, imagine getting all the way to that boss and then just restarting your run because that happened to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not necessary to do this challenge, right?
Mhm.
But I think like if you like a game's mechanics and you like the way it feels, like I feel a lot of people thought, well, Forgotten Land was so fun, I kind of wish I had more. And it's like, well, there is more if you want to pursue it. And I think if you enjoy a game, you kind of, you know,
Mhm.
you're willing to squeeze the juice out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Totally.
I think that the games could even incentivize that a little bit more than they do.
Hmm.
Like I do like how open ended it is that you can make it whatever you want to make it. But it would be interesting if maybe they had achievements within the game or something, like like there, and maybe you didn't even like get anything for it, but just kind of like there if you wanted those other ways of playing. Just like, by the way, if you beat the whole thing with this one power, well, at least check it off a list for you or something.
I agree with you, but I have come across this contentious like belief online with some people who like I know we're with Forgotten Land. There are people who are so mad that there are certain Waddle Dees locked behind certain challenges that they just did not like or found way too hard. One of them was like the double frosty no damage fight. And people are like, this is, people who, there are Kirby fans that are such completionists that they will be mad if they didn't get the star or the Waddle Dee, even though it's not necessary for them to beat the game, but even then they'll be mad if they don't have the star and then be like, well, now this game has bad design because I can't beat this thing and I can't get my star, which means I can't 100% it, and so it's bad. Um, so I don't know, but I personally am okay with things like there's things in games like that I can't do because I'm not that good at that game, and I'm okay with that. I could
Mhm.
live without having all the collectibles in every game, but there you'll come across fans where it's like I can't believe I didn't get all the collectibles in this game, and I'm so mad. Which I kind of get too, but I'm like, I kind of I do like what you're saying.
You're saying that that's me actually.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not
no, it's
calling you
fine.
out.
No, that's fine though. So personally, like in mainline Kirby games, I always won 100%. So for Grandland, sometimes was a bit frustrating in that sense, since usually in other games, I would often just beat every stage, almost every stage, with most collectibles because it was easier. Forgotten Land had the missions, and sometimes there can be a bit like the Twin Frosty one, which you have to do at the end of the stage, and if you fail you have to restart all over, which I don't personally like, but I'm not going to say the game's bad because of that. But I think it's an extra, like I mentioned, like the platinum medals, like you don't have to get them, you just get a congratulations if you do everything. I think something like that could be like, because the missions are required for 100%, but you can also, like, for example, the in Forgotten Land again, you have the treasure roads, right? And they have the target times, but the target times are just optional. You just get a check mark, and I think it's 50 coins for it, and that's it. So it's more like a congratulations, you did it, more than just, oh, you have to do in every single one or you're not finishing the game. So when it's something like that, I think it's cool as well. Because in my case, I didn't care to do every single one because some can be really hard. And I only go for like completion like of everything if I know we'll have fun. If it's something that I know I would just get frustrated, I just don't do it. That's why I also haven't 100% a couple of spin-offs because they can be hard. I would want to, but like you'd have to be having fun. Otherwise, it's like you're just doing chores and over, and it has to be fun. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I did do all the times for Skyland,
That's
and,
fair.
and I wanted more.
Yeah. I guess we'll get more in about a month and a half.
Yeah, I was gonna
Maybe.
say maybe when I get back to the game because of the DLC, I would do that. But I don't know. I can think a couple ones that are just like again, like I mentioned, I need to be having fun. Maybe who knows?
I think I got them all. I would have to double
time?
check, but I think I got all the target times.
Yeah.
I'm actually not that much of a completionist, just like in video games in general. But if I'm really enjoying something, I'll keep looking for whatever else is left to really kind of wring all the juice out of it.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the game, the entry, how much I'm invested in it. I feel like for most mainline Kirby games, they're like some of the only games I actually like 100%. Otherwise, it's like, I beat the story mode, like I'm good. Or I did a lot of the post game and I feel satisfied. But I won't collect, like with Mario Odyssey, I loved that game. I played it 3 times, but I never once got 100% in it.
Yeah, I haven't completed that 100% or anything. I think it kind of depends on how much there is initially, right? Where if a game's like 10 hours long, but it's like, oh, there's another 10 hours if you want to be a completionist. It's like, well, sure, I'll play another 10 hours. But I don't know that I would necessarily want to play another like 100 hours in certain games or something, right? Like some RPGs or some games are just like so bottomless in a way. It feels like, well, I'm fine with, putting 100 hours into this or something, and that might feel complete. Not like I would never play it again, but I don't necessarily feel the need to get every single thing in those cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Hey everyone, my name's Darren Hupke. I'm a writer, publisher, and podcaster. My podcast is called Pixels and Polygons. Each week I sit down with a guest and ask one simple video game question. It's a random topic each week and it leads to a fun conversation. You can find it on your favorite podcast platform every Friday, and you can read more about it at pixelsandpolygons.net.
So, speaking of challenges, we do have a challenge we want to do on this episode, and this is an idea we might return to for future episodes too, the idea of playing something together on the show. And I think this will still work in audio form, so I might have to look a little away from the microphone for this. I will try to play up next to the mic so people can still hear me all right. But if it sounds like I'm turning my head a little bit, it's because we have our switches, and I mean, we are in different locations, but we have our switches, and we are going to take a stab at playing the original Kirby's Dream Land, and we are going to use configuration mode to set it to 1 health point and 1 life, and play on the extra game. So this is like the Kirby roguelike, and it should be very, very hard. And I've never tried to do this before. Bridget and Gigi, have you played it this way before?
I've played it in chunks. Like I would do like the whole first level, taking no damage, and then save, and then do like the next level or whatever. And just like if I get hit at all, then just like load up my save state and then just do it again until like I did that level or I did that boss fight without getting hit.
In my case, I tried like a bit before we started recording, and I just kept dying. So I hope I don't keep dying this one.
Yeah, I've not tried this yet, and it's been a bit since I played the extra game in Kirby's Dream Land, so not sure how far I get, but we'll see. Before we start too, I will remind everyone that since we know we have children listening, we do try to watch language on this show. I don't know if that'll be a factor or not, but I just figured I would mention it.
We'll be sure to say fudge.
Yeah. So, I guess we should all start at approximately the same time. It's not really a race or anything. I have thought that doing races or something in games might be something fun to try in future episodes too. But this isn't so much of a race. This is just to see how far we get or not. But is everyone queued up and ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, I will turn my volume up a little here if people want to possibly hear it. All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Is it if you die you're out, or are we gonna keep going
I
until?
think you can try again. I think we'll just try this for a few minutes and see how it goes.
I died immediately.
Yeah, okay. I just gotta finish Speldy. Okay. We'll take some warming up here.
I forgot that the Waddle Dees jump in the extra.
Yeah.
game. Caught me by the surprise.
I'm just going really slow, really slow.
Hit a chicken.
I got health. I forgot I don't need health.
Yeah.
Did you ever play what was it? The Mario game that was also like where people got eliminated like along the way? That was like a battle royale. What was that
I
called?
died. I died.
You died?
Yeah.
I've died like 3 times already. I'm trying to like speed through it too, which is maybe not the best. But
I'm being like really cautious. I'm just going slowly and I'm seeing, oh, what is up ahead? What am I looking at? And I died.
Anyway, I remember with the Mario Battle Royale that it's like there's always somebody who gets hit by the first Goomba, right? So like at the beginning, there's always like someone who gets knocked out at the start.
They took that off. Why did they do that?
That was really
I wonder if that lives on somewhere. Okay, died again.
Let's see who beats this first level first.
I want to get the warp star at least.
I do like this tension though. I think that is something that I don't always feel in a Kirby game. And feeling like you really have to like tread carefully is a unique way to play.
I played games like that and it's like definitely a different experience.
Yeah.
There is more of the Souls-like element.
I died to the first Waddle Dee again. This Waddle Dee is really strong.
King Gigi just sent his best man out.
Yeah.
It's the vanguard at the front.
That's Bandana Waddle Dee right there.
True.
Ooh, I almost ran into a chicken. Everything just moves real fast too, compared to I feel like how enemies move in like later games.
Yeah.
And people can play along with us too if you want to try this for yourself. The codes to unlock extra mode and configuration mode are very available online. You just put in some inputs on the title screen.
I made it to the star!
Got there? Nice.
Yeah. Should I just keep going?
Yeah, just keep going. See how far you can get.
Alright.
See if you can make it to that one falling coconut.
Oh, that's way later. I died to that boss.
I got to a warp star. Let's see.
Alright, we both made it to the warp star. Nice. Yeah, this is great. This is like harder than any Kirby game, I feel like, where you can actually like set the stock in the lives. I kind of wish they'd bring back this menu, just because it's like, yeah, if I want to be miserable, let me.
I died to the mid boss.
Yeah, I immediately died too. I forgot it kind of slides around.
Yeah, it keeps jumping.
Okay, I did make it to the star finally.
Alright, me too. I made it to the star again.
I died to the first Waddle Dee again.
Alright, Puppy Brother.
Bobby Brother Senior or Junior?
Oh, yeah, and then he slides right into you. Okay. I was even like waiting for it too, and he was fast.
Oh, no! I got a hit in and then he killed me. Let's see who beats the Poppy Brothers Jr. first.
Hardest Kirby boss.
I know. I love how this makes like Kirby bosses that are just like nothing in the regular games just seem so scary.
I died.
We've been able to make it to the boss though, which is good. So it's not like something where you can never make progress if you wanted to do this challenge, you know?
Yeah, there's a sense of tangible gratification at making it like a little bit further and a little bit further every time.
Yeah.
As I'm playing more, I am learning the patterns of everything, and
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's easy to get. There are parts of the game where it's like really, really tricky to.
now, did you say Kumazaki had talked about playing it this way too?
Yeah. There is a actually there is a Kirby Superstar Ultra interview, which I want to one day translate, but it's not right now in my priorities. But there was like, oh, I died again. Sorry, I'm playing and talking.
It is hard to play and talk at the same time.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I beat the boss.
So yeah, in the interview, which is I think it's from like 2009 or something, it's really old. It's like when Kumazaki still hadn't even had just direct the first like Superstar Ultra. Anyway, there was like a bio for each person that was being interviewed, and one of them was Kumazaki. And one of the questions was like, "What is your most memorable Kirby memories?" And the first thing Kumazaki's was like playing the Dreamland extra mode with one life, and I die again.
Nice. He plays like much harder games than Kirby.
Yeah.
Uh, I think he's very similar to Sakurai in that they
Mhm.
both like play way harder games sometimes because he loves like Star Soldier and shoot 'em ups and RPGs and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
and Sakurai also plays like very difficult games.
Mhm.
Uh, so I think when they design Kirby, it's definitely like with a different kind of player in mind than maybe even themselves, which I
Mhm.
find interesting. I think it's very cool that you can like kind of think outside yourself and like really like try to understand other players, especially players that I think aren't always like understood for like a lot of gaming, which is
Mhm.
just like people getting into gaming. Uh, and it's very thoughtful. It's like very, very considerate.
Yeah. I know, like, in an interview about Return to Land Deluxe, they mentioned that they designed Megalor Epilogue so that you can beat it without any upgrades. And they even
Oh,
recommended,
good.
like, as a challenge, they said, like, oh, if you want a challenge, try beating it without any upgrades. So
I
they know
did.
that
I
people do that. Yeah,
did.
Although
you
you do
did
miss
it.
out on his quippy comments then.
I know. I did. But the first time I played it, I did. I did do all the upgrades, so it was cool. It's
I
something you do after you beat it.
So how far are you right now, Bridget?
I'm getting up to Wispy Woods.
Oh, okay.
I just died
Uh,
I have
for
not beaten
Senior.
Puppy Brothers yet.
Yeah, same.
I beaten them twice, and now I'm at like Wispy Woods. Okay, I'm at the Wispy Woods fight. Woo! Let's see.
But yeah, I mentioned that because I find it really interesting that even the developers know like the challenge people do. It's not like because some people sometimes go, "Oh, it's a self-made challenge." That, but even if the developers are like talking about it, it's because they know people do it and they go like, "Yeah, you can do it. Go ahead. We want you to do that." So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you're not like breaking the laws of Kirby or something. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I beat Wispy Woods.
oh, nice.
Oh,
I think my problem is that I'm like a little too afraid of Poppy Brothers at this point. Like I'm like playing too cautiously.
I've done this before, so I feel like I'm cheating a little.
Oh no, it's not cheating. It's just experience.
yeah, I have
Yeah.
experience.
So I had read, I think, something. I don't know if maybe you remember this interview, but I feel like I read an interview where it came out that like there is this feature in the new Kirby game starting from Triple Deluxe where like it doesn't show you, but like if you had died too many times, then the boss's stats are kind of lowered, and
Mhm.
possibly HP is lowered, which a lot of people didn't know, and then found out later. And some people felt mixed about it. They were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, no, I can't challenge them at the full potential because I died or whatever." But like, no, I mean, how often do you die to a Kirby boss? But like, it does happen sometimes. But I think he had responded with something along the lines of like, "Well, then don't die" or something, or try to like
Get
the run
good.
where get good, yeah, like try to be. I swear to God, I read this somewhere, but I guess if no one else remembers this, I hope I didn't like
Uh,
hallucinate that.
I I remember a bit. I can't remember specifically when and like what interview because there's so many sometimes. But yeah, I also think like for some games you have to die like 3 times to the same boss, like in story mode, for it to like start making a difference or something. So like,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
it's not like you die the first time and it's already maybe some. I don't remember because different games have different like percentage. But from what I can remember,
Oh,
All right, I beat Poppy Brothers.
oh, you
sorry,
did.
darn it.
No, no, it's fine. I kept
I
going.
died. I
Oh,
died in Castle Lola
oh.
though.
But yeah, like they even mentioned like like oh, I died. So uh we are talking about the newer games as well. Like they keep trying to make them accessible as well because even though like you say something like, "Oh, Kirby's Dream Land is a easy game," but they also trying to make the games also accessible. So they added like Helper Megler, for example, to Return to Land Deluxe because they wanted like younger people to be able to play. They talk about like kids, like 2 4 year olds that maybe are still learning to play video games, so they may keep like falling or they have trouble beating bosses. So they add that so that like a parent can play with a little kid and still like enjoy the game. So I also think
Yeah.
it's nice they are like they do both things. They keep trying to make the games more accessible, like for younger people or people who don't play many games, and also try to make it open to new challenge and whatever. Oh, I remember something else they add, but this one was in Forgotten Land. Uh, in the other games, like when you die in the arena, you have to restart like all over. But in Forgotten Land, they added like a retry, and you can just pay like some coins and then retry the boss without losing your progress.
Oh yeah, I remember people felt mixed about that because they're like, well, the whole point is like that you try to beat it without dying. But like I can kind of see why making it more accessible would just help someone who doesn't play that way. But also, this is the thing too, a challenge, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I know I there's this conversation about whether or not like it needs to be mandatory or not. But it is like it's kind of like the what I think Kumazaki said, but something like well then don't pay it. Just make yourself start
Yeah,
over,
exactly.
All right, I got
yeah.
to SP Woods.
Oh, nice. I'm still
Oh,
dying.
and he took me out in the first air bullet. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember people saying that. Like, I'm someone that really appreciate that feature because, especially in the arenas, like, again, I keep dying. So, like in Kirby, I'm not exactly the best player at Kirby, even though I play like a lot. So I really appreciate that because, for example, in Forgotten Land, sometimes not in Forgotten Land, but like usually in the arenas, there's usually one or two bosses that are new, and you can like play then outside, getting to that point in the arena. So I remember for Garland, I just paid that and then hit try a certain boss that is like you can like beat them battle them outside the arena. And again, like if you don't want that, you just don't pay because your time doesn't reset. So like if you keep trying over and over, your time is going to be really hard, like really high. So like if you want to be really fast, okay, you don't die in whatever retry. And there's also
Mhm.
like the items, the items
Yeah.
that give power boosts and something. Again, like you don't have to use that. And if you use them, I think your record has a little icon that you use that. So again,
Yeah.
you just don't
You'll
use it
taint,
and brag that you didn't use it.
yeah, you'll be tainted for life. They'll know.
Yeah. Like I don't care.
Um
I say that because like for example, I beat a couple arenas from Starlight with Amiibo because I just wanted. I use it like some power up items in Forgotten Land, and I also use them in Return to Land Deluxe. And I'm not ashamed to say that because yeah, could I beat them without it? Yeah, but like sometimes I want to beat them like the first time as soon as possible. Also because people are discussing online and spoilers and whatever. So that's also like I can just beat that first time and then try again later. I can do that. I don't mind. So I like that option, honestly.
Yeah, I think just giving people options to play how they want to play is pretty much always a good thing.
Yeah.
Even with like changing the difficulty on a boss if you die. I guess I would like to be given the option, before it automatically makes it easier. But
Yeah.
I don't mind having like at least like the game just communicating that to me. Like, would you like
Yeah,
it
I
to be
agree.
easier? Because I don't know, maybe depending on the situation, I would be like, yeah, I just want to finish this, or I'm ready to, move on from this particular thing. Or I might feel like continuing to try what I've been doing and would get a sense of accomplishment from that. So it does seem like Nintendo in general sometimes isn't the most inclined to add like a ton of different accessibility kinds of things to their games, the way that sometimes other series are more kind of like generous in that area. And that's something I would like to see more of from Nintendo, but it does seem like they're doing that more and more.
Yeah, I do feel like there's probably ways to explore challenge in a Kirby game that doesn't have to interfere with the entry level design nature of like, okay, we want everyone to make it to the end regardless of your skill level. One thing that I've kind of thought about before was like because there are move sets and like you can kind of really go crazy on some enemies, like the idea of like what about a combo system or something, that way you're like graded and like maybe you could get better times or better medals or whatever based on your performance, and like it wouldn't affect anyone else who's just like messing around and getting to the end or whatever. They could just like ignore any of that. That could be an option. Yeah, things like that. I feel like Forgotten Land to me recently has kind of been my favorite so far in terms of difficulty. Because one complaint I do have is like, I wouldn't mind a little more challenge in the main mode. Because sometimes it's like the whole time is real chill, right?
Mhm.
And some of the collection is challenging. In some previous games, but generally like they're pretty chill. Like I never found them to be too brutal. Like in Planet Robobot there are like the hidden like fancy stickers or like the hidden fancy keychains, and those are kind of like the hardest things to find. But like generally it's like pretty chill until you finally unlock like the speedrun mode or like the true arena or whatever. With Forgotten Land, it's like you can unlock the treasure roads along your adventure. You can even use it to upgrade stuff, and like you don't have to beat the fast time, but it's really fun to try to like beat them all really fast and be like efficient with abilities and stuff. And then at the end, you still have like all this extra stuff to unlock as well. And then there's the missions too, and some of them were like actually really challenging, like the no damage boss fights and stuff. So like I wouldn't mind stuff like that. I feel like Return to Dreamland Deluxe is pretty good too because you have those challenge rooms you can unlock and get platinum on, but you can also just continue your main story. So like something along the main story I feel like is good just to like switch it up. But I feel like for a long time Kirby games were sort of just real chill, and then like the last 20% is like, okay, now things will get like wild and crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they kept doing this where it's like, get a little bit juicy with the main game. And then if you want to go crazy at the end, that's fine too. You can keep doing that. But I wouldn't mind just like a little something, a little taste of what could come. And I feel like the last two games were really good at that. So it shows for me like, like I like where the how's going with this. So it makes me excited.
Yeah. And there are so many games nowadays too where like you could just get a ton of sliders about all sorts of things you want to modify. You can make it harder or easier right from the start. You could turn off damage in a lot of games. You can just drastically change them. And I can understand a developer wanting to have a particular sense of what their game is, and almost that sort of auteur kind of approach where it's like, well, this is the way this is meant to be. So I don't think all games necessarily have to be extremely customizable, but it would be nice, I think, to see more from Nintendo in that area. I've been playing the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remakes again recently. I'd like to play the 3 and 4 remakes, which just came out, but it just kind of reminded me, like, yeah, I never really got that far into the 1 and 2 remake. And they have things in that game, just like from the start, where it's like you can set it so that you're always special. You can set it so that you can never bail. You can set all sorts of things in that game to play how you want to play, just right from the start. And I could see something like that for Kirby too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no I think what Hal's doing, being an entry level series, is so important and so valid, and like there's parts of its design that other developer, like when Sakurai was talking about like how like he had Kirby fly over and people were like, "Are you sure about that?" He's like, "Yeah, like it's very punishing when the person just falls." And like he talked about how he made this design decision that was questionable in the first game, but then how well it sold, and it's like, okay, that's proof that like people are looking for like a game they could be, you know, and they've been long neglected, and I feel like Kirby kind of filled that space, and I want it to always be there for people. I think that's a very beautiful and like important mission in gaming, is just being like someone's like first, you know, their hand gently guiding them into the magical world of gaming. But like as a lot of its fans grow up, or as like other people check out the series, like, you know, if you did little things like that, you wouldn't have to change what you are, but you could always like invite more people to check it out. And I feel like that's cool, you know. Depending on that's, you know, like I agree too. Like I think there's also creative like decision making where like difficulty goes hand in hand with what the narrative and like artistic expression is of the game. Like a lot of people give FromSoft games a lot of, you know, flack for being super super hard. They're like, why doesn't Miyazaki ever make these games easier? And it's like, but if you like play the games and you like get into the narratives and stuff, like they're about cycles, they're about struggle, they're about pain, they're like brutal. It's a brutal dark fantasy about cycles, and like it makes sense that it's as hard as it is from a narrative standpoint too, that I can kind of understand why it's like, yeah, that's just not what he wants to make. And maybe there's something like that with Kirby where it's like they never want to make a Kirby game that like someone's just like tries to play it for the first time and is like, this is impossible, you know?
Yeah, I think the mode we were just playing was a brutal narrative about cycles.
Is the Dark Souls of Kirby. I got up to Castle Ololo, so that's as far as I got.
Yeah, I made it to Wispy Woods. He took me out with his first air bullet. But I did beat Poppy Brothers a few times. Did I beat him a few times or just once? Now I'm forgetting. I at least made it to him a few times. But that was fun. I think we'll definitely go back and try that some more in the future. And like you were saying, Bridget, like there's so many older games, like before the original Kirby Dream Land came out, so many of those older games were just brutally difficult. And there's a lot of great classic games out there, but going back to them, it is kind of a challenge, right? Because like they are really trying to, like they're shorter, right? So that they're trying to extend the length of their gameplay by making themselves really hard. And I think it is a good thing that the industry started shifting away from that, because it is just sometimes less fun to just die a lot over and over again, right? Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that those games are bad, but you might be looking for something other than a brutally difficult game that takes an hour just to beat the first level, and right?
It depends on the person, because you meet people who are like shump fans, like shumps, shoot 'em ups, shmups. There we go. I can never say it. And like that whole thing is just like memorizing patterns and like bullet heck, and like you know, it's tough. And like as someone who enjoys FromSoft and stuff, like I'm not really that frustrated by dying a lot as long as I'm making progress. Like if I die but I made more progress than last time, I know that I'm always moving forward and I always get eventually to the goal and I feel very accomplished and good. Like I died a lot in Sekiro and yet that was one of the most satisfying video game experiences I ever had. And it's like but I meet people and they see me play and they're like, Bridget, you're like zen. I don't know how you could do it. Like I would just break my controller. Like I hate this boss so much. And I was like, I understand. And like there's different people, there's different levels of like how much you could tolerate. And it's not like you're a bad player because you like don't want to do something 50 times. It's just like everyone just has a different in like a different level for different games, you know, and like what's their interest. So, you know, don't feel bad too. I feel like sometimes I play harder games and it's like or I do these Kirby challenges and it might make other fans feel like less of a Kirby fan or something. And it's like, no, if anything, you're probably more of a Kirby fan because like you're the intended entry person. You're really into it. This is getting you into gaming. You know, don't ever feel bad like you're less of a fan because of skills. It's not like that. I'm a maniac.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really minded dying a lot in games. It's just like, you know, sometimes I feel like something that's more relaxing experience. Sometimes I want something that's more difficult and high tension. And it just kind of depends on what you feel like in the moment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Also, like about dying a lot. I always mention Celeste because Celeste is a game that sometimes I look and I go like, why do I play this game? It's so hard. Like it's really challenging, and I had such a good time playing it. I think sometimes if the game is designed in a way that makes you, it's not like the dying's a punishment. It's more like okay, you can try again, like we're doing right now. We were kept progressing like little by little because we kept learning like how the enemies move, like what to do here. Oh, like you as you play, you like learn. And I get that people like that sometimes. That again, you may like die to a boss like 50 times, but every single time you're making little progress, you're almost beat it, and then you beat it, and it's like, oh my god, finally I did it. Finally I did it. So like I get that. But I
Yeah.
also, like in my case, it really depends on what I want to play. And I also sometimes don't like when I'm trying like a challenge or a boss or a hard game and I don't feel like I'm making progress. So I'm sometimes particular to like what kind of challenge I go after, like what kind of games I play. Because again, like I mentioned Celeste, but like I have never 100% that game. It's one of those games that to 100% is really hard, but I beat the game, so I'm content with that. And when I talk to people sometimes, like what kind of games that sometimes people go like, I would never 100% that, and I do it, are rhythm games, like music games,
Yeah.
because people say they're really hard, but like I like them because I don't know, I have a kind of a sense of rhythm. So when I go like, oh, I have like 100% the rhythm having games, they're really hard actually, but I have
Well,
so
yeah,
much
they
fun.
are.
Yeah. But like I have 100% like mega mix, like every single challenge, every single perfect on every single mini game, and it was really hard.
Wow.
Some of the yeah, like but then I don't play like Dark Souls, Sekiro, and everything else. Like I don't play that, so like it depends on the player. So like sometimes the kind of games, like the challenge, and again I play Kirby. I 100% Kirby, but I don't 100% Mass Attack. Canvas curves. All right, no, thank you. I'm good with like just beating the game and some challenge. Even Epic Yarn, I haven't 100% because there are a couple like the mini games are 100% are kind of annoying at times, and then I go like, yeah, I beat the game. I play like everything I wanted, so I'm good. And again, that's why I have like the only Kirby game I have every single platinum medals is DD's Dream Deck Deluxe because of the Riffing game. So like I like those. That's my thing. So yeah, like
That's
everything
a
else, like
fun game.
the
That's a
challenges
fun
stage.
game to
Yeah,
platinum. Yeah.
yeah, like but like the challenges stages I have tried. I think I got like in the first challenge the platinum medal, and after that was like, yeah, I don't have the patience for that. Cool for people who do, but like, no, thank you. They're really hard.
Gigi, do you play any instruments? Like, are you musically inclined outside of rhythm games?
Actually, not really. Actually, it's really funny. But I want one day, maybe, don't know, play the drums because again, like I like percussion in general. So, but I have never really played like an instrument other than like in school, something like I. It's funny because for music, I
Wait,
like.
have you played the taiko drum games, rhythm
Yes,
games?
yes, I love
Yeah,
them.
okay.
Yeah, I love them. Uh,
Okay.
in my sense, it's funny because for music, it's like I don't understand like music theory, like the notes or anything, but I can understand the rhythm and like how a song, but I have no idea like what a key is, like what are the notes. I sometimes talk about music with people for with Kirby that actually understand music, and sometimes I go like, I don't know, I just listen to the music. Oh, it's nice. That sounds like the other one. I don't know what I'm saying. The people can go like, oh, the A major or something. I'm go like, I have no clue what's A major. I don't understand this, but cool.
I'm the same. Don't worry. I'm
Yeah,
like, that sounds good to me. I like
yeah.
it. Sorry. On the topic of challenge, I think if folks wanted to like try this challenge, I think because you brought up Celeste, I think something that makes Celeste really good is that the challenge it's kind of broken down in like
Hmm.
little save points and sections and levels that if you do that level, you just like that little section you progress. So
Mhm.
breaking down a bigger challenge,
Yes.
like if you want to like kind of enjoy this Kirby challenge too, and I recommend people try it out with a save state where like maybe you do try to do the whole first level without getting hit and then the second and then the third until you progress, and that way you break it down and find it very satisfying while always making progress, and that still will add a lot more challenge than the original game had because you're making those changes.
Hmm.
So try that out.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of game design overlaps a lot with education and instructional design. And the way you want to, like, if you're working with a student, you want to scaffold that information so they're like, you're gradually working up higher levels of rigor and starting with a more basic concept and like introducing a little bit more and a little bit more at a time, or you're chunking information into like smaller parts to make it more digestible. And that's how video games also teach players how to play them.
Hmm.
So for anyone who is familiar with education and how that world tends to work, like you could probably see a lot of overlaps in the video games that you play.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we haven't really talked about competitive games very much either. But when I think about difficulty, I also think a lot about fighting games. And I think that's a genre that some people consider really hard, but it's also very much one where, like, once you figure out how it works, there's a lot of transferable knowledge across different titles. And it's also like it's as hard as you want to make it. Where one thing that I think kind of holds me back a little in those games is that just that I'm not a very inherently competitive person. Like I enjoy playing and I want to win, and I'll play ranked mode sometimes in the games that I like and see how well I do it and stuff. But I know I don't quite have that like killer edge trying to like dominate everyone I come across, like in the way that like some players might, that really works them to really like grind their combos and really try to be perfect. Where if I'm playing more for fun, like I'm pretty content at being sort of a intermediate, maybe higher beginner, lower intermediate kind of level fighting game player, because that's the sort of the the way that I have the most fun with those games. And for the ones that I get more into, I try to work beyond that a little bit, but I wouldn't ever say that I've ever gotten particularly competitive at any fighting games, just because it's like those just aren't the aspirations that I have for them. I enjoy them as something to play with friends. I enjoy them as something to sort of compete with myself in, but it's never been that much about how I compare to the rest of the world, at least on a higher level. I'm happy to just play people who are kind of at my same level and hopefully kind of gradually get better over time.
Yeah, I'm really bad at fighting games, and I find people who are really good at it impressive. I think it's funny because I think Sakurai was such a King of Fighters fan, and there's a little like kind of fighter spirit like in some of the Kirby games with like the move sets and stuff.
Mhm.
And there is a competitive Kirby Fighters 2 scene on Discourse, which we did have a podcast episode about that,
Yeah,
but
they've
I've
got a Discord
never.
and they have a YouTube channel that I would encourage people to follow, and you can watch
Yeah.
regular Kirby Fighters 2 tournaments.
Yeah, check that out. There's also competitive air ride, which
Mhm.
we've also mentioned, and people can check that out, especially now that like Air Riders is coming. That's probably gonna have a scene, but if you want a little taste prior to that, there is a net play like competitive scene and mod where people are currently playing online. If folks want to check that out.
Mhm. All right. Well, cool. That seems like an organic time to wrap this episode up then. Unless anyone had anything else they wanted to add.
No, I'm good.
I actually do have one more completely random thing to add while we have you here, Gigi. So my brother has been playing Kirby's Return to Dreamland again, and he was curious about the Portuguese translation for Nutty Noon in that game. So this has nothing to do with what we were talking about before, but it's a Portuguese question, and it looks like Nutty Noon in its different international translations, like it incorporates different desserts. Where like
Yeah.
in Italian it translates to fritter frontier, or in Korean it translates to peanut sky. And for Portuguese, there is a Brazilian dessert. It's like Jobada?
Goiabada.
Goiabada?
Yeah.
What is goiabada?
Yeah.
It's a dessert made of guava, which is
Oh.
yeah. It's hard to explain, but also it's often paired with cheese. I know that sounds weird.
Oh
Huh.
no, we eat that. We eat that too. I just had that the other day. Guava with queso. Like
Really?
we eat that
Oh,
too in Puerto Rico.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I can see
Interesting.
on Wikipedia that it looks sort of like a pie.
Yeah, it's
maybe,
like a paste
but-
thing. Like it's often like it's hard to explain. Man. But yeah, like it's guava. It's made of guava and it's really like sweet guava, like as a dessert thing. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to explain, and we also pair with cheese, so
Sounds good to me.
and
Nice.
we call that, and the pair we call that Romeo and Julieta. I don't know how it says in English, but like the Romeo and Juliet. Sorry, it's
Oh.
literally that. Yeah, it's like a pair. It's really funny.
Because
So,
I
yeah.
could like look it up on Wikipedia, but I thought like, well, I'll just ask someone who's from Brazil who would know way more than Wikipedia does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really common here. I like it. I use it to not like it, but like I learned to like it. It's really nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, I will have to try some sometime.
Me too.
Cool. Well, on that note, thank you both for being here to play some extra hard Kirby today. I hope we can try that again. Hopefully, I'll have to listen back to how this episode turned out, but I think we kept the dialogue going well enough that it wasn't just like an awkward silence while we played video games together. So I think this worked. But thank you both for playing that with me. And again, we'd love to hear from listeners. How do you play Kirby games? Do you put your own spin on it? Do you have things that you do with your friends where you make up your own rules in some way? Do you have your own unique way of playing a particular Kirby game? How do you like to play these games? I'd be really curious to hear that. And we may share your submissions on the show if we get a lot of response to that. But for now, we'll wrap up the episode there. This has been Kirby Conversations. We are part of the Soundstone Podcast Network, along with Pixels and Polygons and Flashback 64. I'm Sean Douglas, here with Gigi and Bridget, and the show is also produced by Kai Captain Dangerous Parker. Our theme music is by Megan Kells and a new arrangement by Duncan Pixel T. Smith. And if you enjoyed this show, we hope you will leave us a review in your podcast player, and we invite you to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts and on Blue Sky. Thank you all, and we will be back again soon with more Kirby Conversations.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. Hosts Gooey, McKenna, and friends flashback to the 90s and early 2000s with a look at the Nintendo 64's catalog and its contemporary cultural and historical context. Starting with the console's launch titles and proceeding in release order, we discuss classics like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, as well as some not-so-beloved games, lesser-known titles, and everything in between. Along with game-specific deep dives, we also cover other bits of pop culture from the time, like films, music, and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.